Yeah, a very good morning to all of you, and welcome to this session on careers in commerce. Uh, I'm very glad that there are so many people who are interested in listening to something that is coming up their way. Many of you might have already chosen commerce as your final choice of career after standard 10th. Some of you might be still in doubt as to whether you should go with science or commerce or arts as your final stream of education. And in that sense, also, this today's session is going to be extremely helpful. So, a warm welcome and thank you at the outset for all those who made it today to this workshop, to this webinar, and joined in. I also welcome the parents. I can see that some of the parents also have joined in. So, a warm welcome to you all as well. Let me share the screen, and through the slideshow, we will have a discussion for today. So let's begin with today's session on career options, career choices in commerce. Let me first quickly introduce myself and then we will go ahead. I'm CA Dr. Kshitija Soman, so chartered accountant by profession, and then have completed my PhD from Pune University in the area of fraud investigation. So financial statement frauds. So finding out possibilities of fraud or misappropriation into financials through the published financial statements was the area of my research. I completed that research in 2015, and I have been working in education field for last about 15 years. Apart from that, I have been working as a consultant for various companies, finance consultant as well as overall management consultant for over last 6 years. So a combined knowledge that I have gathered, a series of experiences that I've gathered through this journey has helped me come up with this webinar. And that's what I'm going to put forth in front of you today. So let's first see the agenda for the day. I would be going through briefly these points. First, a quick introduction to what this stream is about. Then, how this stream would be as a education path for you all. So in that also, I would speak separately for how is it good for you and how is it good as a stream of education in general. Then I would put forth in front of you various career choices, and also would help you with developing competence in the field of commerce. So there are going to be a lot of things that you would need to note down or you would like to note down. So I would suggest that keep a pen and paper near you so that wherever you feel like jotting down a few points, you can do so. Let's go ahead. And then, of course, at the end, I'm going to have a quick question answer session. If the questions are too many, we might take them separately offline. But otherwise, I would like to handle a few queries in the session itself so that everyone else benefits from the same. Yeah. So, what is commerce? So, can I get a few inputs from you all, from the participants, the students that are here today? Can any one of you throw some light on what you think is commerce all about? I would like to hear from you. Anyone who's interested in?
Trade and all the things that facilitate trade come in commerce.
Okay. Okay. Good. What else? Anyone else? What is commerce to you?
Trade and transactions.
Okay. Wonderful. Trade and transactions. Okay. Business transactions, essentially. Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. So, yes, of course, anything I would say largely that is connected to your day-to-day life today is a part of commerce. So as you rightly said, trade and all the business transactions. So whether it is buying a car in the family or deciding on a budget to a gift to a friend, or advertisements that you see on social media today, selecting the job out of various available opportunities that you will see when you reach the end of your graduation or post graduation. after that, when you start earning, you will have to invest the money that you save, that you keep aside from your income. So whether it is about investing decisions that you make for your personal finances, or whether it is a general supply chain and distribution channel setting for a particular business, whether it is Amazon or Flipkart or Uber or Ola or Zomato, whatever you see around you, most of it is commerce. So I would say you're surrounded by commerce. Why I want to talk a little about commerce is because except ICSE, I believe, CBSE has one subject into commerce, but I think it is elective, so many students do not opt for it. In SSC syllabus, there is not much of insight into what commerce is all about as a stream of education. So it's only ICSE where you have two subjects where students get an idea about what this career path is going to be like. But otherwise, you don't have much idea about commerce in general. And that's why this session, the entire purpose of this session is to make you more aware when you take a decision. Because see, now after 10, the decision of commerce that you take, whatever decision you take, whether going into science, commerce, or liberal arts, once that decision is taken, there are lesser chances. I won't say there are no chances, but there are lesser chances of shifting from one stream to other. And in that sense, it is absolutely essential that you at this point figure out what is good for you, figure out that and understand that you're actually jumping into the right career profession. So just a second. Yeah. So as we just touched upon, finance, trade, insurance, warehousing, marketing, advertising, salesmanship in general, whether it is product promotion or a particular sales activity that you conduct for your product or service, whether it is to deal with human beings or whether it is some kind of training for human beings, it's all commerce. So these are various facets that you see in commerce. I'm getting some messages. I hope the screen is clearly visible to everyone. Can someone confirm, please?
Yes, ma'am. It's
Visible? Yeah.
visible.
Perfect. Okay, thanks. Yeah. So now let's go to the third slide where we talk about why commerce as a career option. So all of you who have come here today to discuss about commerce as a stream of education must have thought after this field a lot, but here are some insights, some more insights to you all. So why should you take commerce as a career option? Why is it so important? Why is it interesting? Why is it crucial in today's day-to-day life? First, because as you rightly said, it is heart of all business transactions. So whether it is about purchasing a product or delivering a service, whether it is about uh, endorsing a particular brand, or it is just about posting a reel on Instagram, everywhere commerce and trade is concerned, is seen, is used. So it is heart of all business transactions. Commerce as a field has extremely rewarding career opportunities. I'm going to unfold many of the opportunities in the coming few minutes. So you will see it more at that time. So there are extremely rewarding career opportunities that come across in commerce as a field. When I was entering into 11th standard way back in 1998, 96 in fact, 97, 98 were my 11th and 12th. Way back then, it was very clear that someone who gets good marks in exam has to opt for science. I feel it is changing definitely, and it's heartening to see as a teacher. But still, some of you might have had these experiences where even after getting excellent marks, when you decide to choose commerce, the first question that comes in front of you is, why not science? Everyone around you will possibly ask you, why not science? And I'll tell you the obvious reason. You might also get at times irritated that why can I not choose commerce? The reason is simple, because in science there are 3 4 very very big career choices like engineering, medicine, architecture, or business analysis for that matter is again an option today. All these options, these major big ticket sort of options do require a lot of intelligence, and that's why whenever someone scores really good marks, the first question is why not science. And forget about extremely great marks, but in general, whenever you decide to choose commerce, the first question is why commerce, what do you want to do later after that. And I have been seeing this these kind of questions over years, right from my 11th to today. A little has changed for sure, but not much. And as I said, the reason is obvious, because all these courses in science need a lot of intelligence. Does that mean commerce does not need intelligence? Oh, absolutely not. I will tell you in the time to come as to how commerce requires logic, mathematical inclination, thinking out of box, and whatnot. So definitely, I'm happy, very heartening to see that excellent, what you can say, excellent thought process is going behind choosing commerce as a career option today in the students. So when I meet students who are 10th pass outs, I feel really happy to see this change. But way back when I was a kid, the first question would be why not science? And then when I say I want to do something else, I don't want to get into engineering or medicine, then it would be like, oh, then you're not doing something great. But today things are definitely changing. There is a lot of option available, a lot of series of options available for growth in your career into commerce as a field. So definitely, I'm happy that you all are taking this wonderful decision of choosing commerce as a specialization. As I said, it combines logic, intelligence, and business acumen. And let me tell you, this business acumen is not so common. So if you have a liking for the subject, then only you can actually think out of box for your business, think out of box for your product or service, think of various channels of distribution, think of various ways in which your selling can happen and it can reach customers. Think of various ways in which in your economic subject you must have learned the basic needs and wants and needs, the difference between wants and needs. So gone are the days when producers were producing goods only for the basic needs. Now the days have changed, and producers produce goods to satisfy your wants. So wants are sort of good to have products or services, but today maximum chunk of retail sector or maximum chunk of FMCG products are in the wants section and not catering to the needs section as such. So today what sellers do is they convert your needs, they convert your wants, sorry, into needs and then sell the product to you. And we can see that very well. Smartphone was rather phone, in fact, was never our basic need. But today, smartphone has become our basic need. It has become that imperative, that important to our daily lives. So this is how sellers would use the psychology of consumer behavior that we call in marketing to persuade consumers to buy more and more products and series of products, variety of products that's coming in picture in the market. The next, why commerce? Now, the previous slide, I told you why commerce as a stream of education. Now, the next question is why as a career choice for you specifically? So what is it that lies in it for you when you decide to take up commerce as a field of specialization? So I would put forth 3 important points in this area which help you. I would suggest that you note down and think about these points after the session today. The first is, it is very important to write down. And when I say write down, it means pen and paper and write down. There are various advantages of actually writing down with a pen and paper and not just typing on the phone. If I start talking about that, it will consume another different session altogether. So let me just put forth to you that there's a lot of science and research behind it, that when you write something on pen and paper, it becomes your reality. So first thing, as I said, is write down your goals and vision. So sitting here after 10th exam, when you think about future, when you think about your standard 11, 12 and career after that, your graduation, your post-graduation, what are your goals? So someone can just say that I want to buy an Audi or I want to buy a Porsche. Someone might just say, I want to own a very big house. Someone would say, I want to earn a lot of money. Someone might say, I want to do a great business. Someone would say, I want to earn a lot of name and fame in whatever I do. Someone else might say, I want to reach the top in whatever I do. So, whatever is your goal, is your target, please note it down today on pen and paper. And when you say you want to note down your goals, you need to have a lot of clarity about what you want to really do in future. Now, the next immediate question you might have is it possible to have that clarity today, sitting after this 10th exam? The answer is no. And that's when your family and friends would help you. That's when a session like this probably would help you understand what lies in commerce. And then accordingly, you can decide your goals and vision for the coming years. As I said, I would talk a little, I already spoke a little about my journey in commerce. So when I chose commerce as my career, obviously there were questions on why I want to do it. And you know what? The worst part, really didn't know why I want to choose commerce. I surely knew that I don't want to get into science as a stream of education. And a lot of my friends were getting into commerce. So probably that's the reason I got into commerce. And no exaggeration. After 12th, the next question was what next, because I just completed my 11th and 12th from a very good institute in Pune. And then the next question was what next. Again, a few of my friends were doing CA foundation. They said it is a good course and it is a rewarding career option. So I said, oh, why not, let me get into it. I got into it. I had to struggle a lot. It was not very easy. It wasn't a cakewalk for me. I had to struggle in my intermediate and final to get through. I needed about 2, 3 attempts extra that as compared to my other batchmates. But as they say, nothing goes waste under the umbrella of this world. So I struggled. I worked very hard on the same subjects again and again when I could not clear in the first go. But you know what? All of it is worth today when I am into this education field. I find it really worthy, because whatever I studied that time again and again possibly was a lot of repetition and a lot of irritation, frustrating experience that time. But today when I look back, I find that when I work in education industry, it is extremely important to have a lot of clarity, lot of poise, and a lot of going deep, the habit of going deep into a subject. I think CA gave me that. But point to note here about my journey is that I did not give it a very good thought before entering into commerce. I just knew that I have to get into it because I don't want to get into science. So exactly this thought was lingering in my mind for years together, that there had I been uh, had I met someone who was very who was working very hard into commerce as a field, who was in the field for a lot of years, and then if I would have been able to get some guidance from such a person, my journey probably would have been better. I'm not saying it's bad. Luckily, by God's grace, it all fell in place, and I'm very happy with what I'm doing today. But what I'm trying to tell you is it wasn't a choice that I made. Probably it was something that God made for me. So after a CA, then I started working in education field and completed my PhD also. And that is something that I did with a clear thought in my mind that, okay, I want to pursue PhD. And that's why I pursued it. There exactly I understood the difference, that jumping into something without a lot of knowledge and jumping into something with a lot of conscious thought process rather, makes a lot of difference. It makes a lot of difference in the way you approach the field, in the way you handle your problems, the way in which you handle your hurdles that might come in your way as you pursue a particular profession. So this exact difference between getting into CA and getting into PhD gave me this idea of starting this webinar, and that's where I'm here to share whatever knowledge I have in this field in front of you. The last point before you think about why commerce for you is what attracts you here at this point in time. So again, I would want participation from you all, and tell me, if you could tell me, what attracts you to commerce as a field. Anyone? Is it glamour? Is it money? Is it just out of interest?
Mom, I love economics and
Okay.
that is what I was.
Okay.
But I mean, I plan on doing maybe a PhD in economics.
Oh, that's
So
great. Okay. That's why you're here. Okay. Anyone else?
Having financial knowledge is a powerful tool in the outside world.
Absolutely.
And it is not just regarding money and fame,
Mhm.
but even working with businesses and working with financial instruments, that is indeed an interesting job to do. So.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Yes. Great. Good thought behind it. Anyone else? Okay. Yes. So I'm happy that you are putting in thought, as I said, behind what you're doing. And that's exactly what I want you to do. That is exactly the aim of talking to you today here. So as I said, as the students said, that it could be your interest in the subject, it could be money, it could be fame, it could be the work satisfaction that you would get by working with a lot of people who are who are working and who are passionate about the same subject. You know what? The best part I understood as I started working in commerce is that you meet a lot of like-minded people, and that's where the growth inside and outside is fabulous. So definitely in that sense, when you get into a particular zone, because till now in school you all were scattered, like someone had interest in architecture, someone had interest in, say, maybe a particular foreign language, someone had interest in particular subject of science like biology or zoology. But now, since you all are here, like-minded people thinking about commerce as a discipline, it will make a lot of difference when you actually start studying. And I have experienced personally that students who were not that happy with their studies till 10th flourish like anything after 11, because they get their liking, as they say, they get their calling from within, right? Okay. Next question, as I have been already talking to you, is have you researched enough before you get into commerce as a specialization? So a few points have been put up here that might help you get into this field with better uh, weapons with you at your disposal. So first is brainstorm with your family and friends, not to understand what commerce is, that you can go and work and understand from various areas, various social media inputs also. What I want to talk to you in first point is, and write down your SWOT analysis. Again, when I say write down, it means pen and paper again. What is SWOT analysis for you? So I'm not asking you to do SWOT analysis of commerce as a discipline or commerce as a field for your career choices. I want you to get into uh, SWOT analysis of your personal self, of your own personality. So, what are the strengths in your personality? What are the weaknesses in your personality? What opportunities await you in the coming times is what you feel. And last is threats. So, what are the threats that might come in your way and that might stop or I would say slow down your progress in the career option, in the career that you decide to take up? So for this, you would need to talk to your friends and family, because we know ourselves, but many people know ourselves sometimes better than us. Your parents, the first set of people who would know you the best, then your siblings, then your grandparents, then close friends will all know you very well. So talk to them, understand, ask them candidly these questions as to what do you think is my weakness? What do you think is my strength? Because please remember, SWOT analysis unfortunately has been taken up in a wrong manner, I would say. So when I talk about strengths, it is what lies in you and that you can nurture further. So suppose I say that I can work very hard patiently for hours together, I don't need to even get up from my table, then that's definitely my strength. And then nurture it further. and understand that someone who can sit for hours together without getting disturbed, with a lot of patience, is definitely, I would say, a good fit for hardcore career courses like CA, CS, CMAs, and probably law also. I would come to that in some minutes. But SWOT analysis often tells you that work on your weaknesses and try to eliminate. I would say don't really try to eliminate, because it takes a lot of your energy to eliminate weaknesses. Rather than that, if you focus more on your strengths and try to improve upon them, I think your energy will be utilized better, is what I have experienced over time, with having worked with a lot of students and other professionals in the field. That don't give a lot of importance. People give undue importance to weaknesses. I would say focus more on your strengths and try to nurture them further. So do this brainstorming session in this week, and that will really help you. I'll tell you, you'll get some insights which you didn't know about. The next is obviously research into the commerce as a field, which you can do with the help of social media and other literature. A lot of literature is available in newspapers, business magazines, and I have given a list of a few nice books that you can read throughout this time till you actually get admitted to a college in 11th standard, because there's still a lot of time before you actually get into it. So you can use this time really to understand commerce as a discipline in a better manner. So I would talk about it in the last few slides. Then another very interesting option, which again is very underrated in India, is internships. Start working in India. Still, it is not really a good idea. If you see a student who's just passed out from 10th standard and starts working in office, people don't look up to it with a lot of respect. I don't know why, but it is very common in Western countries. So start working with someone. If you know, if you have a business of your own, your parents have their own business, their own office, or if you know someone in your family or a close circle where they have their own setup, and you can go and work with them to get experience, whatever may be the field, it doesn't matter. Knowing a business organization is all that you want at this point in time. So it could be something. So for example, if I want to pursue CA after my 12th standard, but right now my uncle has a grocery shop, for example, it can be as simple as that. It doesn't matter. I should still go and work with him in the grocery shop, because it's not about what I finally want to do. Right now, you need to get an experience of what a business organization looks like overall. So please think of such options also, like internship, volunteering at various events. You can actually get into event management, small event managements around, maybe in your family, or if you have a get together, just ask your parents that let me handle this event entirely, right from A to Z. I mean, so right from making the guest list to actually sending a thank you note after the event is all that it takes. So you can actually get into it. Next option is discussions and experience gathering. Talk to a lot of people who are relevant, working in the relevant areas, as I said. So suppose I want to pursue law after 12th standard, then please go and talk to a lot of lawyers who are working in the field, either as a practitioner, or some lawyers would be working in different areas, not just they would be in practice, but they can be working as corporate consultants to various companies. They could be working as an in-house lawyer to some organizations. So they could be working in NGOs. There are a lot of avenues, even when you pick up one particular field of education. So talk to such people, understand their experiences, understand what is in a particular profession for you, if you have already narrowed down on a particular profession in commerce. If not, just talking to a lot of professionals will give you a lot of insight into what you really want to take up after 12th standard. Because see, right now your choice is primarily to understand whether you want to get into science, commerce, or arts. But it's only after 12th that your path becomes clearer. But thought process should begin from now. You should not waste these 2 years, which are very crucial years, 11th and 12th. And I would say rather utilize them the most so that you're ready for undergraduation and further your post-graduation. Last point I want to stretch upon, ponder upon a little, is Ikigai, a very popular concept today, and many of you might have already read the book or have at least heard the concept. If not, please read the book. It is a wonderful book. So why am I talking about this concept in today's session is very often in my experience when I work with MBA students, I have seen that a lot of MBA students, although they like say HR or operations or finance as their specialization, or actually they really love that subject, but they take up marketing as a specialization only because they feel they get paid for it. Look at my cursor here. This is one element what you can be paid for. So they feel that they get paid very well uh, if they are into marketing specialization, and that's why they just ignore their likes and dislikes. They ignore the fact that they love finance or they love HR, but they get into marketing only because they find it worthy, because they find that the job can give them a lot of money and a lot of success. I have seen a lot of students who choose a particular subject only because they like it. So I remember a student who took up MBA finance specialization because he thought he loves finance, but it's not something he was good at. So see my cursor again on the left hand side. It's not only essential to see what you get paid for, it's not essential to see what you love or what the world needs. It's also equally important to see what are you good at. I might just want to reach the stars, but do I have the essential competence to reach the stars? Is what you must see. Without that, it is like taking a decision just blindly without understanding the pros and cons of it. So, what you love, what the world needs, what you get paid for, and what you're good at, a mixture, a combination of all this is Ikigai. Because, for example, you'll see, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but for example, what you're good at and what you love together makes your passion. So, when I say I'm passionate about teaching, or when I say I'm passionate about finance, it means I should be good at it and I should love it, both. It's not possible to have something as my passion if I'm not good at it, but if I just love it, that's not enough. I love music doesn't mean I have good voice to perform on stage. There's a lot of difference between these two things. Similarly, what you get paid for and what you're good at ideally should become your profession. So I'm going to share this slide later on the group so that you can have a look at it. Think about this diagram again more and start writing. When as much as you write, you will gain a lot of clarity. That is something for sure I can tell you. So ponder more on this diagram and you will get a lot of insights into, you can actually write down here, what are you good at? What do you love? What the world needs? What you get paid for? And then boil down to a particular career option. That is a real good way of reaching your destination. Now, I would like to talk about a few career options that are possible, that are available when you decide to take commerce as your specialization. The list is big. I'll just take a pause for 30 seconds. You can just read through it. There are so many career options that you can uh, get into. Most of them are combinations of some basic study. For example, I'll just take one example. For example, a CA can be a business analyst, a CA can be a tax consultant, a CA can be an auditor, a CA can work in banking, a CA can work in insurance, a CA can work in investment banking, he can be a SAP consultant, he can actually be a researcher, a teacher, he can be a cost and management accountant also. So these are more like roles that you can take up once you complete your education. But to take up any or many of these roles, you need only few particular, I would say, a few particular streams of education that you need to pursue. As I said, one education in chartered accountancy, and you can take up at least 7 or 8 of these roles. Even the role of actual company secretary, which is more into corporate compliance, is also something that a CA can take up to a certain extent, not entirely, because company secretaries are much more equipped to take up corporate governance and corporate regulations. But to an extent, CA can do that also. So this is just one example. Similarly, if you do say MBA with business analytics, you can get into research, you can get into banking, insurance, investment banking, business analysis, and even consulting. business consulting, not just specifically tax consulting, but business consulting is what you can do if you get into business, if you do your MBA in business analytics. So there are so many roles that you can take up. Okay, so if you want, you can take a screenshot of this. So I'm taking a pause on this slide a little more and go through these later. Because in today's session, in this 1 hour that I have planned for, it's very difficult to go through everything in detail. So I'm just putting a lot of lists in front of you. You can just take a screenshot and think about them, and definitely connect with me for any doubts if you have. You already have my number because you all are a part of the group.
And what is designers here?
So here designers, I mean that after 12th standard, people can get into one, interior designing. Second, nowadays companies like NID have a lot of designing courses. So it could be, for example, in countries like Abu Dhabi and Dubai, there are huge industrial exhibitions, and so stall designing for an exhibition is also a part of profession that these designers today take up. There can be product designs that are made. There can be designs, a lot of designing that happens in software industry also today. So when you are designing a prototype of a product, or when you are actually executing the hardware formalities for a product, you have to get into designing. So in that sense, designers.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Ma'am, for designing field, I think science would be needed, or commerce will also.
No, I mean, both are okay. You can get into designing after science also and commerce also. There are many students who after 12th standard have moved to NID or similar institutions. Even MIT Loni has a good course in designing, where students have gotten into after commerce.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, moving ahead. As I said, I will be sending these slides to you so that you can have a look at it at length. But this is what I want to put in front of you in nutshell. So all these slides that I'll be showing for various courses. So I won't say these are the most important courses, but these are popular by and far. CA, CS, CMA, that is Cost and Management Accounting, Law, and after graduation, MBA, BBA, MBA are the courses that are most popular in commerce as a profession. So I'm going to take you through those courses in a nutshell. So first is CA, where you would see that there are 3 important stages. Foundation. So there are basically 2 routes. So you can get into it after graduation, or you can get into it straight after your 10th also. If you see here, you can register immediately after 10th standard. And then after 12th standard, your first exam would come. But your registration with Board of Studies can happen after 10th standard actually. And then you will be eligible once you qualify your 12th standard, you'll be eligible for foundation. And after foundation, you can register for intermediate, after which, along with that, there are some small practical trainings that will happen in information technology and allied fields. After which you have to get into a rigorous 3-year practical training, and end of it will be registration for your CA final course and passing both the groups of CA final. This is how it is definitely a long journey. I want to talk about this because, as I said, most commerce students, when I talk to them about what they want to do, they would say CA as the first choice. But I always tell them that, do you have, as I said, ability to sit down at one place and work for hours together? Because CA, in its last part of exams, like at least 3-4 months earlier to the exam, every CA student has to put in a minimum of 10 to 12 hours into studies if you have to really clear your exams with flying colors. So do you have that patience? Do you have that ability, focus to sit down and do something patiently, meticulously? If yes, then CA definitely is a course for you. Plus, apart from that, as I already spoke, you should have a liking for the subject. You should have a liking for taxation or auditing. So understand more of these concepts as to what exactly is meant by taxation, what exactly is meant by auditing. And also remember, nowadays, it's not like once you clear your CA exam, you get into traditional practice. Not everyone today is into traditional practice of taxation or audit. people have moved to management or consulting. There are chartered accountants in various fields, as I already spoke with you in the last slide. So again, direct entry is where you do it after your graduation. After say BCom, generally people would get into CA, and then they directly start from intermediate. They don't have to get into the foundation exam if they are a direct entry participant into CA course. The next is CMA. This used to be called as a CWA. So all those two parents, especially who are listening to this session today, they would know this course as CWA in their days. But now the same is called as CMA, Cost and Management Accountant, where again there are 3 steps: foundation, intermediate, and final. And again, the only difference between CA CMA is this CMA course has a lot of trainings during this stage of intermediate and final. This large part that you see here, all the slides in I mean all the lines in red color here are showing various number of hours for which you will be trained. For example, in CMA course you have a SAP finance training for 60 hours, Microsoft training for 40 hours, e-filing training for 20 hours, Cambridge University soft skills training for 20 hours, and so on and so forth. So they have a lot of trainings that they take up during this
direct
course.
or the foundation?
Sorry?
Is the direct route better or the foundation route for either of
No,
these
they both
exams?
will come here. Like even if you do foundation or even if you do go for direct entry, this happens once you enroll for intermediate. So after, see here, you can see that arrow, and once you get into intermediate level, they will rigorously take you through these various courses before you actually qualify the intermediate exam. Okay. The slight difference between CA and CMA is, in the way the training happens. CA courses are focused more on taxation and governance, I would say, whereas CMA has a lot of weightage on the cost angles also. So that's why they are also called as cost accountants in a common parlance. So they study more of strategy, more of costing of a particular product or service, how the pricing should happen. Should it be penetrating style of pricing, or should it be just scheming kind of pricing? So there are various strategies of pricing that that are studied in CMA as a course. Apart from it, a lot of other facets of costing in general, plus law, taxation, governance. So CMA is more, I would say, a course which covers a lot of facets as compared to CA. CA goes more in deep, more in the vertical zone. It goes deeper into a subject, whereas CMA makes you wider as far as your conceptual understanding is considered. The course is more spread across horizontally than going deeper into a particular subject, whereas in CA you just are focusing on auditing, accounting, and taxation primarily, and going deeper and deeper into it. The next is company secretary course. For this course, so all those who are afraid of mathematics, because I don't know why, but I've seen this very often in commerce students, that many of the students also say that we take up commerce, we want to take up commerce because we want to just let go of mathematics. So I don't know why, but don't keep that attitude, because mathematics is the heart of all the logical reasoning that happens in commerce. And so leaving outrightly mathematics, I would suggest, is absolutely not a good idea. So all those who ever think of doing this, please think twice before doing it. At least till 12th standard, you all should have mathematics as your core subject. After that, you can choose. So all those who want to let go of mathematics after 12th can have a solace, because in company secretary course, there is no mathematics as such. So it is all about law and governance. So you will see a lot of compliances. You will learn a lot of formalities as far as filing various reports is concerned. So company secretary again has 3 levels: foundation. They call it by a different name, a foundation, then executive course as is the name that they call it by. You will see the steps here. So this is step 1, 2, 3, then 4, 5, and 6. So final is obviously the declaration of the result. Final. So foundation, executive, and intermediate and executive are the steps in which this course also goes. So primarily speaking, CA/CWA company secretary courses have the same philosophy of 3 levels of training: the basic level, the intermediate level, and the advanced level. The training is slightly different for different courses. I mean, the way training happens, the way the soft skills and other skills are given, imparted across various courses is slightly different. Next is the law background. So in this, again, there are 2 options now available for all those who are thinking of getting into law. So first is, after 12th standard, you can do a integrated course, say BBA plus law or BCom plus law, which is a 5-year course. For that, very often various colleges want you to give CLAT. You might be aware of it. Some of your friends might have given it right now. It happens twice in a year. So you can appear for any of them. I think generally December and April are the 2 months in which these exams happen. So CLAT is acceptable by various institutes across India. In Pune, if I have to speak specifically about, say, ILS, then even CAT score is good. But if you want to go for other states, then CLAT exam is a must for LLB if you want to get into an integrated course. So the benefit, I'll tell you. So let's say if you take BBA plus law or BCom plus law, you get into the education of law right from 12th standard onwards, and up to next 5 years, you complete your education in law. If you decide to take up law as your post graduation, you can do it after graduation also, but it means that you're spending 1 more year, because in this integrated course you spend 5 years after 12th standard, whereas in the law course that you do after your graduation, you're spending 5 years till graduation and then going for your next course. So here, that slight difference of 1 year is going to be there. It's absolutely a personal choice as to whether you want to get into law after 12th or after your graduation. Both are okay according to me. But if you're very sure of the fact that you want to anyhow get into law, then getting into it after 12th is not a bad idea. It will set your tone and your focus right after 12th standard. But if you're a little unsure of whether you want to actually go in for law or not, then you can complete your graduation in BCom, BBA, whatever field you interests you, and then take up law. That's also a possibility. The next course is MBA. MBA again has BBA, MBA 2 levels. So graduation is MBA, BBA, and post-graduation is MBA. There are many institutes in Pune, in the country and abroad also, which where you can pursue in various countries: Australia, Singapore, USA, Europe, various countries. You will see this course being offered, MBA, and there are many students who also opt for MBA courses abroad now. And they all are wonderful courses, many good institutes there. So again, after 12th, you appear through various kinds of entrance tests. There are various names: CAT, ZAT, SNAP, NMAT, ATMA, CMAT. And through these entrance tests, because every college, every institution, every university has its own way or own parameters of which entrance test to consider for its admission process. And so through the entrance tests, the MBA happens. Okay, the next. Yes, these are, again, I'll take a pause. You all can take a screenshot of this. We're running a little out of time. So take a screenshot. These are various other courses. Those who want to go to other countries for further education can look at this right-hand side. London School of Economics, Harvard Business School, then various institutions in USA have MS in economics, MS in business strategy or business analytics. CPA is a very lucrative option today, because you can do this course, certified public accountant, from India also. And it is recognized worldwide. That's the advantage. So even if you go to some other country later in your future, years of career, you can still opt for this, use this degree and work there also. So in that sense, CPA is a great idea, a great option. Yeah. Apart from it, on the left hand side, you will see various options I have given in India: BBA, BCA, BFT. BFT is foreign trade. And then obviously you can do the post graduation in the same field. Then BSL, law exam. There are many institutes in India, in Bangalore, then in Pune, then this Jindal University in Gurgaon. All have a condition of doing CLAT first and then getting into these institutes. You can do a lot of graduation and post graduation courses in mass communication, and then also PhD, MPhil, as someone here said that she wants to pursue PhD in economics. So this is the path you will go with, MPhil and then PhD. Yeah, now I want to come to a little different area of this webinar as we reach towards the end, as to what all qualities should you imbibe as a commerce student. But before getting into that, I want to talk to you about this. Parkinson's law of time management. This course or this law says that work expands to fill the time available for its completion. The more time we give to a particular task, the longer it takes to complete it. You would see this best on your holidays. So if normally you would get ready and get out for work, for your college or school, whatever, at 10 o'clock and or maybe 8 o'clock also, you know how to finish all your tasks before that and get out sharp at 8 o'clock for your work. But if on a holiday you're not in a hurry, you don't, so the same kind of routine that you follow usually and still manage to get out of the house at 8 o'clock, on a particular day, on a holiday, that same set of tasks extends to say 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock also, because work expands the time you have. Why am I talking about this today? Is because, a word of caution again here, I have seen many students in 11th and 12th taking 11th for sure is taken as a rest year. I don't know what is this concept and where has it come from, but students think that they have to take standard 10, standard 11 as a rest year. And why? Because they worked a lot in standard 10 and thus they want to take a break. But let me tell you here, if you do that, 12th standard will be a lot of effort for you. I have seen students who did not study at all in 11th standard, could not get any clarity on the concepts in various subjects, and then in 12th standard, it becomes really difficult to cope up with all those concepts in 1 year and then get on to with your 12th standard syllabus. Remember, your 12th standard syllabus is absolutely linked to your 11th standard syllabus. So if you're good in managing your studies in 11th standard itself, then 12th standard becomes very easy for you, because it will just be like building a site on the basic foundation that you have already created in standard 11. So please remember, don't ignore. So Parkinson's law will apply to standard 11 students in the sense that because you feel there's nothing to do, there's a lot of time, you end up doing nothing. And that can happen, and that is something I don't want you to do. So this is again a very big list. Please take a screenshot. So this is again something that I have understood from my experience over years, that these are the things students are not good at. And this is something, all of this has to be really worked upon in these 2 years. So please develop the edge over your competitors by using the time available at your hand in standard 11th and 12th. These 2 years are not going to be years of lot of work. 12th standard, yes, you will have to study, but if you have a regular study habit of say 4 or 5 hours also, it will be sufficient. You don't need to spend more than that, but it should be regular. So if you just say that in the last month I studied for 4 hours a day and still I couldn't get a lot of marks, then it is obvious. But if you work on, if you spend 4 or 5 hours every day in 12th standard, it is more than sufficient. So you can use the remaining time for these things. I'll just quickly go through the link. Communication skills. a lot of times I've seen that students cannot write a proper email. They don't know how to address it. The salutations are missed at. They misuse or use wrong salutations at wrong place. So nowadays, due to WhatsApp, we all, not just to blame the students, we all are used to writing short forms. So when I say I've forgotten that U is written as YOU, we all end up writing it as just the letter U. So this happens in emails also. In formal emails, I've seen employees writing a resignation letter, and in that they write YOU or JFI, just for your information, etc. Not something which is acceptable. There are some common standard short forms, I would say. Like for example, PFA, please find attached, is absolutely a standard abbreviation that you can use in your emails, but not otherwise. So there are some slangs that people end up using. So this communication is something you need to work upon, students need to work upon. Learning a foreign language is going to be your weapon. So today, German, French, or Japanese are extremely in demand, even Spanish. So you might have already studied some language in your school days. So please further the knowledge in that same language, or take up a new language if you have inclination towards one. But use these 2 years to lay a foundation for one foreign language for sure. The third important is negotiation skills, which again students lack heavily. And when then I take interviews for a particular job position, I realize that this is something that students should have started working upon right from standard 11, so that they gain a lot of um, mm, expertise in the area of negotiations. Next is using web space effectively. For example, if you want to search for something on Google, also there are people who cannot really use Google so effectively to find what they are searching for. So using that, for example, a small thing like if I want to if I want few particular keywords in my Google search, I must put them in inverted commas and with a plus sign in between. Then I make sure that I take both those keywords in every search that I get. So Google gives me only those documents where both these keywords are included. So such kind of effective use of web space is something you should learn. With a lot of practice, I think you can do that easily. Command over Microsoft Office. And when I say Office, it's not only Word or Excel. It's Word, Excel, PowerPoint presentations, everything. This command over Microsoft Office is a very powerful tool in your hand. Please remember that. Next is various banking operations, share market, post office savings accounts. You all, most of you as students must have had PPF accounts. Your parents must have taken them in your name. So now is the time, start going to PPF, that bank where you have a PPF account, and try and fill that paying slip and everything. Nowadays, although banking operations have largely become online, still knowing the basics of these things matters a lot. I remember when I started my CA articleship, my mentor, my sir, used to tell us all to write one full year's accounting data by hand. So we used to take up any client, particular client, and write all his books of accounts by hand on various registers for the first time. After that, next year onwards, we can use Tally software. That time we had only Tally. Today you have a lot of other accounting softwares also. But we used to use Tally for data entry, and then further we would take up the tasks related to that client. But the first work will always be handwritten, because the kind of hold you get over the accounting operations by when you write it with hand, he used to say, is very important, and that everyone should try for. The next is a computer language. Please note here carefully that R programming and SAS, Python are the keywords today. So learning any of them is going to help you a lot in coming times. Especially if you are aiming at BBA or MBA or MS in business analytics, these languages would be very handy to you in later years. All those parents who are listening to this course, I would like to request you that now it's time that you give your household management to your kids. Give them a certain X amount that you need for your family for a month. and let them spend it. Let them do budgeting. Let them understand what are expenses of the month. Let them write those expenses one by one. Let them understand what is the shortfall or what is the amount that they saved from the amount that you gave them at the beginning of the month. All these are small things, but all these small changes are going to make a lot of difference in when you shape up a personality of a commerce graduate. So when I see a commerce graduate, I want ideally him to be equipped with all these tools. Next is business etiquettes, again, largely lacking in various professionals that I have seen. So again, there are various courses nowadays. You may want to note down, there is Udemy courses. A lot of Udemy courses are there on business etiquette, soft skills. Plus, there is a website called, or there is an institution called MOOCs, MOOCs, MOOCs. So, if you go to IIM websites, you will see MOOCs courses hosted there. So, these courses are beautiful courses by eminent speakers and faculty members about various areas, including negotiation skills, communication overall, then specifically soft skills, etiquettes, business etiquettes, etc. Analytical skills, even Microsoft Excel, advanced Excel, all these courses are available on MOOCs. So at least keep a target of doing 2 such courses every year is the minimum, I would say. And then next, sharpening your analytical skills. For that, you might want to read news articles and think about them, discuss with your elders, or do what is called as small case studies. Nowadays on Google, if you just type a keyword, you'll get a lot of case studies on every particular topic. So just sharpen your analytical skills using those case studies. That's going to be very important. I believe you've taken a screenshot of this because all this, as I said, needs to be worked upon in standard 11 and 12. Coming to last 2 slides. These are a few good books and movies or web series that you can take a glimpse of, that give you rather a glimpse of commerce as a field. So these are small books which help you in, some of them are personal self-help books, I would say, like Atomic Habits, Tiny Changes, Remarkable Results, or How Finance Works. By the way, this entire series of HBR, Harvard Business Research books, are a beautiful set of books. There are small books that come in a box, a set of 10, set of 12, on various topics. There are some HBR guides which are named by 10-minute series. So there are small books that you can read in 10 minutes or so. So this particular book, How Finance Works by Mihir Desai, is a wonderful book to have. Buy it or take it on Kindle and read it. Nowadays, we have Kindle versions of almost all the books, so it becomes very easy to buy and read. Rich Dad, Poor Dad is, I would say, a Bible for all those who are going to take up commerce as their specialization. So read that, definitely. Another nice book, which I've always liked, written by Kishore Biyani, is It Happened in India. This is about the story of how Pantaloons, Big Bazaar, Central was brought into existence. Unfortunately, this group is not doing well today. But the book is a beautiful insight into how Big Bazaar was almost first of its kind, I would say, in India, which started with grocery being sold in shops. So it is the first time vegetables and fruits were seen in shops being sold in bags. Otherwise, till then, you would go to a small stall or small shop near your house where the sabzi wala will be sitting and giving you vegetables and fruits, and you will buy it that way. Big Bazaar was the first, almost first of its kind, where these items started selling in shops. Nowadays, it has become very common, but that time when Big Bazaar came into existence, it wasn't that common. So, this book by Kishore Biyani is a very beautiful insight into how an entrepreneur struggled to bring something new to the existence in this world. Next is again Brian Tracy, one of my favorite, I would say, philosopher, not just a thinker or a management consultant. He's a management guru, but a philosopher more than that. Brian Tracy, his book called Eat That Frog is again a very beautiful book on time management. You can read. And these 3 movies or web series, Scam 92 is become very famous. So I think many of you might have already seen it. If not, definitely watch it over this coming week or so. Then similar web series was movie was, I think, Enron, the smartest guys in the room. And there was a Hindi movie called Guru, which came in 2007, which was starring Abhishek Bachchan. So that is again a movie which has a lot of small concepts in accounting, finance, and in general, in trade in general, into it, imbibed into that particular story as such. So this movie is also going to give you good insights into the overall commerce as a specialization. Yeah, and to end this, I would say this is like a litmus paper test. So having studied everything, having understood everything that we discussed so far for over last 1 hour almost and or more, this is, I call it litmus paper test. Are you a perfect fit for commerce? So if you have ability to take up all of this in your stride, definitely you have a bright future as a commerce professional. So first is definitely strong knowledge base that you would gather over the coming years, analytical ability to interpret and conclude upon a particular situation at hand. For this, again, as I said, do a lot of case studies that would help. Mathematical inclination is needed for most of the courses, as I said, except CS. Business communication, focus on what you are doing, concentration, ability to think out of box, strong logic, and patience. If you have all of this, you are definitely a perfect fit for commerce. I call it litmus paper test for getting into commerce, because there are no entry bars into this field. Once you enter, you may really do great, or you may really in a year's time find out that this was not for me. And I don't want a single student getting into that trouble of choosing a specialization and then regretting or repenting about it. So this kind of webinars are only to help you about that. So as I said, I have told you already various ways in which you can gather information about this field more. Do all of that. Write a lot these days. That is going to give you a lot of clarity, I'll tell you. Okay, to conclude, before I take a few questions, I just want to introduce you to a workshop that we usually take at Srishti School of Learning, Pune, called Commerce Mind Gym. So it is a 1 week long course, 5 days, 1.5 hours every day, usually conducted in first and second week of June. Generally, I take 2 batches in this, where so you have in this webinar, you have learned all about what is commerce and how it functions and what are the various roles you can take up. But sometimes only knowing it is not sufficient. Suppose from this webinar, me as a student got impressed that I want to take up CA as my profession. But then I don't know exactly what lies in it. What do you exactly mean by auditing? What do you exactly mean by taxation? How do you actually see a balance sheet and P&L? Obviously, all of this is not going to be clear in your minds at this point in time. But having a fair idea of this field little more in detail is required, or is, I would say, suggested, recommended. And thus this course that I take helps you learn more about commerce, and that's why the name is Commerce Mind Gym. So you work out rigorously in the field, but in your mind, through case studies, role plays, group discussions. So we do a lot of assignments on and off the floor. These courses are online as well as offline, depending on last 3 years I've taken them online because of COVID and other situations. But this year I'm planning to take at least 1 batch in the offline mode, where students sit together, do work, do role plays. So say we get into an annual meeting and someone is a CEO, other person is a CFO, and then discussions and interactions. So this way students get more idea about commerce as a field. And probably my experience of last 3 years says that after this workshop, students get enough clarity on what kind of specialization they want to take up. And they surely, I mean, I have seen those feedbacks where students said that now I know this commerce is the right field for me and this is what I want to do. So this is something that I wanted to put forth in front of you. If you are interested in it, definitely do get in touch with me. Now I'm open for questions, if any.
What are the timings for the batch?
Generally, these timings are decided once we get, because I don't take more than 6 to 7 students in a batch, because I want to focus individually on everyone. So once we get 1 batch of students ready, we decide the timings and offline, online mode, depending on convenience of the participants.
Okay, ma'am.
So we can decide that and make sure that everyone is comfortable with that particular timing that we decide. It's 1 hour 1 hour 30 minutes every day for 5 days. So generally it happens in first and second week of June. So admissions would start immediately till the end of May. Admissions would continue.